Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another walk around. This week I am joined by the Suzuki Vitara. Now some of my regular viewers may be asking, well Aaron, why are you doing a Vitara again? You did one last week. Yes, that is true, but this has got the 1 litre engine and it is also a different trim level. So as always, let me show you around the car, talk you through the specifications and give you my initial impressions. So the Vitara I had last week was the range-topping SZ5 model, whereas this week I've got the mid-range model, which is the SZT. It starts from £18,999, but the car you see in front of you is a little bit more because I've got the optional paintwork. So this car is pushing £20,000. The paintwork, in case you are wondering, is £800, which is quite expensive for paint, particularly for a Suzuki. In case you are wondering about the colour, the red is called bright red. I know it must have taken them ages to come up with that name, and that bright red paintwork is contrasted with a cosmic black pearl roof, and it looks pretty good. Would I pay £800 for it? No, if I'm going to be honest, but obviously horses for courses. Some people may want to have this and some people may not. Now as standard you get 17-inch alloys similar to the SZ5, but as you will see they are a different design. Let me get you a little bit closer. I actually think I prefer the style and the design of these alloys compared to the Vitara I had last week. But apart from the alloys, from the outside there isn't really much different to the Vitara I had last week. Now you don't get LED headlights, that's probably one of the other clues from the outside. So the actual headlight design is a little bit different to the Vitara I had last week. But apart from that, it pretty much looks the same. Now let me take you inside. This is where the changes really start to kind of be obvious. Now, before I do so, I want to show you the key. That may seem like an odd thing to do, but bear with me. So this car doesn't get keyless entry, whereas the range-topping model does. The key you get, this may sound very picky, but look at it. It's a very cheap-looking key. It's very basic, and I know it's only a car key, but yeah, it just looks really, well, dated. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the previous version of the Jimny had a very similar, if not the same design to its key. And that was a car that was on the market for about 20 years. So yeah, I know it sounds picky, but the key is not to my liking. Let's unlock the car like so and head in. So one of the biggest differences between this model and the one I had last year is the upholstery. So I haven't got the lovely leather and suede seats. Instead I've got these fabric seats, which are still nice to sit in. They're still comfortable. They're still pretty supportive. So I haven't got any large complaints. And you don't get the panoramic roof either, which I do miss, but it does give you a bit more headroom, as you will see when I get into the back. Apart from that, the inside, the actual dash isn't too different. If I bring you around to the passenger side, you'll notice that the insert, the trim, is different. So because I haven't got the all-grip, all-wheel drive system, the panel I have here is a little bit different, and I haven't got the all-grip badge there. But the inside is a relatively nice place to be. You still get a soft touch dashboard, and you still get a leather steering wheel, which is quite nice. Now, weirdly, this mid-range model doesn't get the clock in the middle, which I find a little bit weird because, well, it's only a clock. It's not like it's an expensive feature. But in all honesty, I don't mind. I actually prefer this black Suzuki insert because I find the clock on the SZ5 just looks, it looks really cheap and nasty. So I actually quite like the fact this model, excuse me, sorry, pardon me. I actually like the fact that this hasn't got the clock and instead you've got this black insert. Yeah, I think it looks a little bit smarter. Now, annoyingly, well, some may find it annoying, you don't get a sunglasses holder. So the range-topping SZ5 does get a sunglasses holder, which is located around here, but this model doesn't get it. You do, however, get a little slot down here, which is where you would normally have the drive select if you go for the all grip system. But because I haven't got the drive select, you get a little slot here, so you could put chewing gum in there or some loose change, and it just gives you a little bit of extra storage, albeit not much. Let me jump into the driver's side. There we go. So in regards to equipment, this may not have as much as the range-topping model, of course, but you still get a fair bit for your money. Let me turn the ignition on. So you still get a 7-inch touchscreen, which works pretty well. You get smartphone connectivity, DAB radio, Bluetooth, and did I mention smartphone connectivity or did I mention navigation? You get navigation as well, in case I haven't mentioned it, which works pretty well. You get climate control, you get a reversing camera, which, there we go. The resolution isn't amazing, but it should be absolutely fine for most buyers. One thing I don't like, and I probably mentioned it when I had the last Vitara, is when you turn the steering wheel, this grid doesn't curve, which I do find a little bit annoying, but it isn't a deal breaker. You get the same speedo as you do in the range-topping model, so nothing really changes there. Well, nothing at all has changed. You still get the analog controls and the digital display in the middle. But let me actually close the door. I don't really want to drag any mud into the car because my trainers are a little bit muddy, so I need to be a little bit careful. So in regards to storage, you still get the same amount of storage. You get a decent sized door bins. I've got, that bottle is 750 millilitres. I've got plenty of space and there's space left over, which is pretty good. You've got a little shelf here where you can pop your smartphone or any other smaller items, quite handy. 2 cup holders in the middle, like so. Front centre armrest, which is adjustable and has some storage in there as well, like so. And last but not least, you do of course get a glove box, which again offers a decent amount of space. There we are. Getting a good driving position is very easy. The steering wheel adjusts for rake and reach like so, which is quite handy. And my driver's seat has got a good level of adjustment. Now, in regards to kit you lose on this trim level, as opposed to the SZ5, I've mentioned the panoramic roof and the seating. You do lose quite a lot of safety features as well. So the range-topping model has got a sensor up here, which I always forget the name of. Dual sensor brake support. I think that's the name of it. I always forget the name. I'm really bad on that one. So you do lose a lot of safety features if you go for this model, which may be of disappointment to some. So I haven't got adaptive cruise control. I've got cruise control and speed limiter, but it isn't adaptive. I haven't got the autonomous emergency braking. I haven't got the rear cross traffic alert. I haven't got the blind spot warning. So I have lost quite a lot of safety features. Now, that isn't to say that this car is unsafe, because you still get 7 airbags as standard, and there is a way around it. So as I've mentioned, this car is 2-wheel drive, but if you go for the all grip model, for the SZT, you do regain the safety features you've lost from the from the SZ5. So that is something to bear in mind. Right, let's climb into the back. I don't think I've put my steering wheel back properly. I have. Okay, marvellous. Right, let's jump into the back. Oh, the sun is starting to come out. That is rather nice. So as always, guys, the driver's seat has been set for me. I am 6'2", so I am of course a taller guy. But even so, the space back here isn't too bad. I'm hoping the lighting won't be too bad for you guys, because the sun has just come out. I think it may play a bit of havoc, which it is a little bit, so apologies guys. But I've got a good amount of knee room, and leg room is pretty good as well. Yeah, as I predicted, the sun is actually giving me a bit of issue. Apologies, guys. So let me just take it off my little mount, so I've got a bit more flexibility. So as you can see, hopefully see, I've got a good amount of legroom, and I can fit my feet underneath the seat in front of me, which is quite handy. It means I can stretch back and relax a little bit. Now, headroom was a bit of an issue in the Vitara I had last week because of the panoramic roof, but because I haven't got it in this car, headroom isn't too bad. I haven't got acres, but I've got enough, and I think for a medium to long journey, I would be quite happy sitting back here. Could you fit 3 adults back here? No, I think it would be a bit of a squeeze. The middle seat, as you would predict, is quite slim. Let me turn you around. The middle seat is quite slim, and you've also got a bit of a transmission tunnel down here, and of course you've got the front center armrest, which may make legroom a little bit tricky, but yeah. So realistically, I think your best bet is to have 2 adults in the back and use it as a kind of 4-seater. But if you wanted to fit 3 children back here, I think that should be fine. So yeah, the back of the Vitara, well, the back of this Vitara is more spacious than the one I had last week, but it still would be nice to have the front center, not front center armrest, that's there. No, it would be nice to have an armrest here and have 1 or 2 charging ports in the back of the armrest, so rear passengers can charge their devices whilst on the move, but maybe that will come in the next generation of Vitara. Right, let's put my mount back on. Now, another thing about the Vitara, I don't think I mentioned it when I did the walk around for the SZ5, but getting out the rear may be tricky for some. The opening isn't that large. I'll try and pull back a little bit. The door doesn't open as wide as you may want it to, and you've also got the rear wheel arch, which kind of obstructs you a little bit. So getting in and out, it may be tricky for some, particularly for elderly relatives or for those with mobility issues. So that may be something to bear in mind. Now let's move on to the boot. Although this car doesn't have all-wheel drive, don't think you get extra boot space because it is exactly the same. So that means you get 375 litres, which is pretty good. It's pretty competitive in its segment, but it isn't the largest in class. The boot floor is adjustable, so you can pop it down like so. Obviously, I've got my filming stuff in the back, so I can't do it now, but I will cut to a cutaway where you can see the adjustable boot floor. If you want more space, you can, of course, fold down the 60/40 rear seats to give you 710 litres. So not the biggest in class, but it should be enough for most buyers. There we are. And let's conclude by talking about the engine. So I've got the bonnet release somewhere here. I can never find it. There we go. There we go. Right. So the Vitara I had last week was the 1.4 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged booster jet engine, whereas this week, if I can actually get the lever, nope. Whereas this week I've got the 1 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged booster jet engine. It produces 111 horsepower with 170 newton meters of torque. It can be mated to a 6-speed automatic, but I've driven that car and I wasn't a massive fan of it, so I would probably urge you to go with the 5-speed manual instead. In regards to performance, it will hit 62 miles per hour in 11.5 seconds and continue to a top speed of 111 miles per hour. In regards to economy, on a combined run using the WLTP method of testing, you should get 45.9 mpg, but in my experience I've been able to get around 51 mpg, which is pretty good. And this car emits 139 grams per kilometre of CO2, meaning for the first year of VED, you'll be required to pay £165. Now, in case you're wondering about insurance, this car falls into insurance group 12E. In regards to warranty, as standard, you get a 3-year warranty, which is pretty much the industry standard, but let's face it, it's a Suzuki, therefore it shouldn't really go wrong because they are pretty reliable and dependable cars, really. But yes, here we are, one more walk around the Suzuki Vitara SZT with the 1 litre engine and front wheel drive. Let me know which colour you prefer, guys, the bright red on this car or the ice greyish blue I had last week. I actually prefer the ice greyish blue I had last week, although I'm not, that isn't to say I don't like this colour, I just prefer the blue because it looked quite interesting and quite unique and pretty distinctive. But yes, that is enough from me. Time for me to wrap up. There will of course be a full review coming with this car. In the meantime, if you have any questions or queries, please don't hesitate to drop me a comment in the comment section below and I will try to answer you as quickly as I possibly can. But in the meantime, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a massive thumbs up. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click that bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. And if you aren't subscribed, guys, what are you waiting for? Be sure to subscribe for more car obsession.